Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for your prelims and mains examination perspective will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with news topic list. Today is 6th of May. The first news is Delimitation Panel or Delimitation Commission has redraw assembly seats in Jammu and Kashmir. Second, Prime Minister advised states and union territories over the heat wave conditions. Third, Supreme Court to study if the larger bed can hear the sedition pleas. Second last is environment part of Jog Fall project. We'll see about this project which is there in Karnataka. And the last is an editorial, Seize the Trade Movement. So this is an editorial from the Indian Express. Apart from this, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before that, if you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. And just to tell you about our prelims test series, total 60 tests will be provided in test series. You can register yourself. मैंने वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में लिंक दिए हुए हैं, आप ज़्यादा जानकारी वहाँ से ले सकते हैं. The first news, that is delimitation panel redraw assembly seats in J&K. Something important for general studies paper 2, that is functions and responsibility of union and states and issues pertaining to the federal structure of our country. So the recently 3-member committee, this Delimitation Commission, which was formed by the government, was actually a 3-member committee which was headed by Ranjana Desai. So she is a lady. She has chaired this particular commission. It is important for many other competitive examination also. The reason being, I have mentioned the name. Mostly when I discuss news, I don't name individual, but कई बार कुछ ऐसे individuals हैं जिनके नाम आपको पता होने चाहिए, right? And it redraw the boundary for the union territories in terms of the state assemblies constituencies. Now the order dealing to extend like 90 assemblies की बात की गई है, 90 assembly seats के लिए, and 5 parliamentary constituents that has been there in the official gazette by the commission. Now the copy of order would be again given to the union government also, and this would be finally submitted to the parliament also subject to approval. बिकॉज डिलिमिटेशंस की अलग पावर है, उसकी फंक्शनिंग अलग है. मैं आपको एंड में बताऊंगा हाउ द डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन डिराइव इट्स पावर एंड व्हाट आर द सोल पावर दैट इज हैड. So the source of reference for the Delimitation Commission was based on Census 2011. So the Delimitation Commission that was formulated for the Jammu and Kashmir was given the responsibility to delimit the assembly and parliamentary constituency in UT of Jammu and Kashmir on the basis of the census of 2011. Every 10 year we have a census और census के accordingly ही जो boundaries होती है वो redraw की जाती है. Accordingly the government take care of that proper representation है उस population के लिए या नहीं. So this was done in accordance with the provisions of the Part 5 of the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019. And 34 was there in 2019 जहाँ पे provision में delimitation earlier 33 थी 2002 में. तो ये numbers बढ़ाए गए थे. अब जो उन्होंने recommendation दी है वो total 90 seats की दी. The commission has decided that the constituencies shall be delimited and having with regards to the administrative unit which include district, tehsil, patwar and circles. So these are the bottom hierarchy upon which the entire machinery of the government actually function. Now seat allocations की अगर बात करें, so the undivided seats of Jammu and Kashmir total has 87 assembly seats, and this was something in which 4 belongs to the Ladakh region. इसमें 4 जो ऐसे हैं जो seats हैं that belong to the Ladakh region for the separate UT in August 2019. Now the Jammu Kashmir region had 37 seats while the Kashmir has 46 seats. तो यहाँ पे रिपोर्ट में कुछ चेंजेस की बात की गई है. नाउ द टोटल नंबर इज अराउंड 90 दे हैव कम अप विथ विच 43 विल बी फॉर द जम्मू एंड रीजन एंड द अदर बेसिकली बात अगर करें कश्मीर के लिए यहाँ पे 47 की गई है. सो ये जो 43 है ये 6 नंबर की इंक्रीज है. and this 47 is increased from 1, right? Earlier it was 37 for Jammu, now it has been made 43, और जहाँ पे पहले 46 थी अब उसको वापस से 47 कर दिया गया. So these are the changes that you can note. It is important for your exam as well. Besides this, there are 24 seats in Pakistan occupied Kashmirs that continue to remain vacant as per the records that the Election Commission has. Now, this is an infograph to give you a clarity about the total seats pre जो 2022 की delimitations है और post delimitations में क्या numbers हैं. Earlier it was 83, now this is 90. कश्मीर में total seats कर दी गई हैं 43 for Jammu, and for Kashmir it is 47. So this would be again easy for you to correlate with the numbers of data. You can take the screenshot of it, which can help you to revise further. Now, seats for SC and ST, specifically for the first time, 9 seats out of the 90 assembly seats which was recently proposed by the Delimitation Commission, इसमें 9 seats रखी गई हैं scheduled tribe के लिए. The 9 seat has been specifically allocated for scheduled tribe, and 3 seats in the Kashmir that would be given, and other than this 3 seats जो है वो कश्मीर के लिए होंगी, बाकी के जो 6 seats होंगे that will be there for Jammu, right? These name would again not be important, but जो representations है उसके बारे में आपको पता होना चाहिए. तो total 9 seats हैं ST के लिए, and additional seat has also been reserved for the scheduled caste. यहाँ पे SCs के लिए 7 seats reserve किए गए हैं, and this is for the other district, which is Ramnagar, Kutwa, Ramgarh, Bishna, Sucheta Marg, Ankur, which are the part of the Jammu region. Now, delimitations क्या है? How does it work? This is something again very relevant for your prelims examination. So Delimitation Commission is the high power body whose order is equally applicable in terms of the court of law. जिस तरह से किसी के हाई कोर्ट की जो ऑर्डर्स होती है जितनी पावरफुल या सुप्रीम कोर्ट की ऑर्डर्स उतनी ही फोर्सेबल इसकी भी लॉ है, एंड इवन इट कैन नॉट बी क्वेश्चन इन एनी कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ. दिस इज important point that you can note. And the appointments are made by the President of India, which work in a collaboration with the Election Commission of India. The members, its member are serving for a retired Chief Justice. Supreme Court के जो judges होते हैं वो होते हैं Chief Election Commission or Election Commissioner nominated by the CEC or Election Commission of the respective states. तो तीनों member accordingly उसी हिसाब से बनाए गए थे. It functions to determine the number of boundaries of constituencies to identify seats for the reserve SC and ST. Delimitation Commission बहुत टाइम स्टैब्लिश की गई है 1952, 1963, 1973 और 2002 में अंडर दी सेवरल आर्टिकल्स, राइट. सो अकॉर्डिंगली डिलिमिटेशन की बहुत पावरफुल बॉडी है, इसकी ज़रूरत पड़ती है हर बार सेंसस के बाद. गवर्नमेंट हैज़ टू रिवाइज अकॉर्डिंगली. सम स्टेट्स जहाँ पे रिप्रेजेंटेशन को लेकर की इशू होती है वहाँ के लिए स्पेसिफिक डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन बनाई जाती है. Now, Prime Minister had advised the state and UT to basically take cautions in terms of the heat wave conditions that is ongoing in India. This particular news is important for General Studies Paper 2, issues related to development and management of health. So the Prime Minister of India has recently reviewed a situation regarding the heat wave management और मानसून की जो प्रिपेयर्डनेस है उसको लेकर के एक हाई लेवल मीटिंग बुलाई गई. दैट हाउ Government of India, the state government and the union territories can have the action plan to overcome this problem. So this year's summer has witnessed some of the highest temperature over the centuries. ये IMD ने कहा है कि 121 years में ये पहली बार ऐसा होगा जब इंडिया ने इतनी ज़्यादा समर में टेम्परेचर्स राइज देखे हैं अप्रैल के महीने में. And even you can say for the month of May has just started. So the calculation was basically for the month of May. The Prime Minister has instructed all the officials to set up to avoid any death with regards to the heat waves से जो death हो रही है उनको कम करनी है, and all the precautionary measures need to be placed for all district level administration and the state need to focus on this. Now क्या क्या warning दी है Indian Meteorological Department ने? So the Indian Meteorological Department has despite over the last few years has said that the heat wave condition is graving in the cities which include Maharashtra, Vidarbha, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Vidarbha, Delhi in the coming years. Now, while India has seen the warmest temperature in 122 years, I have told you 121, it is actually 122 years, that has experienced the warmest month of April. फ्रीक्वेंट हीट वेव देखी गई है जहाँ पे कुछ स्टेट्स लाइक राजस्थान, ईस्टर्न उत्तर प्रदेश, मध्य प्रदेश, विदर्भ जो महाराष्ट्र के रीजन है वहाँ पे ऑलमोस्ट 45 डिग्री से ज़्यादा टेम्परेचर है. The monthly average of the temperature has recorded in the country is around 35.3 डिग्री सेल्सियस और जो टेम्परेचर अर्लियर 33 हुआ करती थी वो बढ़ करके 35 डिग्री सेल्सियस तक चली गई है. Now this is a map that will give you a clear idea about the ongoing heat wave. These are the indicators, the temperature indicators. So you can see the highest temperature is in the Chandrapur region, which is again in the part of this where mostly almost like 43.8 degree Celsius temperature is there, right? And these are the other regions. So this is just to give you an idea. आपके लिए एग्जाम के लिए कहीं इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, बट आपको पता होना चाहिए कि किस रीजन में कैसे और हीट वेव कंडीशंस किस किस कारणों से इम्पैक्ट होती है. सो गेट इनटू द बेसिक्स ऑफ ज्योग्राफी एज वेल बिकॉज मेनी अ टाइम्स यूपीएससी कैन आस्क यू प्रीलिम्स एग्जाम क्वेश्चंस आल्सो इन दिस. Now, Supreme Court to study if the larger bench should hear the sedition pleas. Important for General Studies Paper 2, structure, organization, function of executive and judiciary. So recently the Supreme Court has said that it will decide the issues whether the petition challenging the constitutional validity of the sedition law under the section 124A of IPC should be referred to the larger bench or not. This is what Supreme Court has categorically mentioned in its plea, hearing a plea. So recently sedition has been invoked in Maharashtra even for chanting the Hanuman Chalisa. So these are some of the political angle. I'm not getting into detail of that. We are more concerned about the sedition law and section 124. So what is sedition law? Sedition law जो है IPC के section 124 में mention है. It was actually introduced by the British government in 1870 to tackle the distance of the colonial law. If you have read modern India thoroughly, आपको पता होगा जिस तरह से गांधी जी ने प्रोटेस्ट किया था उसमें भी सेडिशंस लॉ किए गए थे और भी बहुत हमारे ऐसे इंपॉर्टेंट लीडर्स के खिलाफ ब्रिटिशर्स ने सेडिशंस लॉ के रूल्स लगाए. सो इट हाउ डज इट गो? अगर वर्ड्स बाय वर्ड्स देखें सेडिशन लॉ, सो हुम से एवर वर्ड्स और इधर स्पोक अगेंस्ट द गवर्नमेंट उसके खिलाफ सेडिशंस लॉ को लगाई जाती है. इम्प्रिजमेंट के प्रोविजंस हैं एंड इवन फाइन इज देयर, राइट? सो दीज आर द कंप्लीट स्टेटमेंट दैट इज देयर इन द बियरर एक्ट under the section 124A. Now Kedarnath versus states of Bihar की अगर बात करें, so this was a judgment which was there in 1962 जहाँ पे ये कहा गया Supreme Court has upheld section 124 that the IPC while restricting the applicability जो activists हैं involving in intent of violence or intent tendency to create public disorder should be punished, right? यहाँ पे आप protest कर सकते हैं but you cannot take the public order or you cannot disturb the public order, right? The court has agreed that the citizen has to write to say and even write whatever he think about the government, but he should not disturb the functioning or public peace in our country, right? इस केस के थ्रू जो एक फेमस जर्नलिस्ट है विनोद दुआ, उनको भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इसी जजमेंट के थ्रू रिलीफ दिया था. ही इज नो मोर. So you must know how things are functioning in India. So seditions is something which is colonial law. बहुत बार इसकी बात की गई है, इसे हटाने की ज़रूरत है, but even the government is not thinking for this. So अब मेंस में ये आपसे पूछे जा सकते हैं that how in the present context the colonial law which was actually established in 1870 should continue with India or सुप्रीम कोर्ट के कुछ और इंपॉर्टेंट ऑब्जर्वेशंस है. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा दिस वाज फर्स्ट टू डिसाइड वेदर द प्ली ऑफ सेडिशन लॉ शुड बी रेफर टू द लार्जर बेंच और नॉट, एंड द बैचेस ऑफ द पिटिशन वाज फाइल्ड बिफोर द सुप्रीम कोर्ट which challenges the constitutional validity of the sedition law. Former Union Minister and Information Technology Mr. Arun Shourie has actually filed a petition which he says that the sedition law violate Article 14 and Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitutions. So if you're writing in mains, you can say the stakeholder are concerned about the Article 14 and Article 19 of the fundamental right that is enshrined in our constitutions. Now, environmental impact of jog fall project, something relevant for General Studies Paper 3, conservation, environmental pollution, degradation and EIA. So the central government has recently raised concern over the Karnataka Forest Department approval which they have given to a project where a five-star hotel would be established near the job development project. This is something which has raised an alarm that how an area which is under the environmental protection can go for a five-star property. So the Jog Sagar, which is in the Sagar Tula of Simbora district in Karnataka, is a fragile ecosystem of the Western Ghat. आपके लिए map work से question है. Make sure you go through the map work. This become important for your examination. Now, Karnataka has submitted a proposal to seek the diversion of 0.8536 hectare of land from the Nadavartra Takila village in Sagar Tulka, and where it called for the five-star property and in lieu of the PWD गेस्ट हाउस. जो PWD गेस्ट हाउस है उसको डिमोलिश करके वहाँ पे फाइव स्टार प्रॉपर्टी की बात की जा रही है, विच इज अगेन डेक्रीमेंटल फॉर आवर एनवायरनमेंट. नाउ इसके लिए एक स्पेशल रीजनल एम्पावर्ड कमिटी की गठन की गई है. दिस कमिटी वाज एक्चुअली फॉर्मुलेटेड अंडर द सुपरविजन ऑफ मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट, फॉरेस्ट एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज that has only sought the additional clarification regarding this project कि क्या ऐसी considerations थी, क्या ऐसे points थी जो ऐसे फ्रेजाइल इन्वायरमेंट पे वहाँ की स्टेट जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है उन्होंने अप्रूवल दी है, राइट. सो इन अ लेटर डेटेड 22 अप्रैल इट शाउट वेदर द एनवायरमेंटल स्टडी वाज एक्चुअली कंडक्टेड और नॉट, क्या इम्पैक्ट होंगे, क्या रिपरकशन होंगे, जो इन्वायरमेंटल इम्पैक्ट असेसमेंट है क्या वो एक्चुअल में की गई या नहीं, ये जानने के लिए empowered जो regional empowered group of committees है which is under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, they have sued the notice to the State Forest Department. The Karnataka government has sought to demolish the existing PWD guest house to make a five-star hotel. So this is the image which you can see of the fall, and these are famous tourist places in Karnataka. Now moving to the editorial of the day, that is Seize the Trade Movement, important for General Studies Paper 3, Indian Economy and Issues Related to Planning, Mobilization, Resource Growth and Development. This editorial is written by Sachinand Shukla. He is a chief economist at Mahindra & Mahindra, and he has given some insight that how India can progress and utilize the time which is coming in terms of overall trade movement. So I'll be simplifying this editorial by 5 important subheads. The first is India's export, uncertainty, global economic environment, global tea market, opportunities for India in textile, and export opportunities. तो पूरी editorial की जो theme है, that is the global trade and opportunity for India. So the year 2021 was record one in terms of the trade, despite the pandemic which was ongoing not only for India, for the entire world. And the volume of merchandise trade has rose up to 9.8% in terms of dollar, and it grew by 26%, which is a good news for the merchandise trade. The value of commercial services has also taken a toll, which is around total of 15%. The world merchandise volume has grew थ्राइस ऑफ द रेट, जहाँ पे जीडीपी अगर बात करें मार्केट एक्सचेंज में पिछले 2 दशकों में सबसे ज़्यादा देखी गई है, डिस्पाइट द फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस दैट द वर्ल्ड हैज और इवन द इंडिया हैज सीन. इंडिया एक्सपोर्ट की अगर बात करें, इंडिया के एक्सपोर्ट वैल्यू की, इंडिया हैज़ अ गुड एक्सपोर्ट रन अप इन टर्म्स ऑफ ग्लोबल ट्रेड दैट हैज़ विटनेस द रिकॉर्ड एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ 419 billion, which is touching 250 billion in the service export. And according to the WTO, the world merchandise trade volume is expected to grow by 3% in 2022, जहाँ पे पहले एंटिसिपेशन 4.7% की थी, उससे घटाकर के 3% किया गया है, और आने वाले समय में फॉर द year 2023 this would be 3.4%. So this data specifically is important for your mains examination. Uncertain global economic environment की बात की गई है. So the global environment can call for a proactive policy actions, जहाँ पे export को specifically ध्यान देने की ज़रूरत है, because 2 important countries like Ukraine and Sri Lanka, these are the major exporter of agriculture product. These are created a vacuum. इस vacuum को India अपने agriculture export के लिए as a opportunity utilize कर सकता है. Now apart from Europe and Africa, जहाँ पे food security है, wheat की जो supply है specifically रशिया और यूक्रेन से ही आती है. Now, global tea market की अगर बात करें, श्रीलंका is a major player in terms of global tea market, which produce around 300 million kg annually. and almost 98% of its annual production is exported. और इंडिया की अगर बात करें, इंडिया इज द सेकेंड लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर विद टी, जहाँ पे एनुअल प्रोडक्शन ऑलमोस्ट 900 million kg and the good position that is opportunity to fill the gap, right? Now India के लिए टेक्सटाइल में क्या क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं which India can potentially utilize. Apart from tea and wheat, new export opportunities have arisen in the textile sector to Sri Lanka as well, जहाँ पे इंडिया भी कुछ opportunities ले सकती है. How? That you have to see that export for Sri Lanka is 5.4 billion worth of garment, जहाँ पे इस आइसलैंड नेशन अभी भी ऐसे सिचुएशन से गुजर रही है जहाँ पे ह्यूज इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस है, राइट? सो डेफिनेटली जो मेजर ब्रांड्स हैं जिन्होंने इन्वेस्टमेंट की है लाइक ज़ारा, H&M, they have been reportedly looking into other Asian countries like Bangladesh, Vietnam, Cambodia, India to look into the factor जहाँ पे चाइना को ये रोल आउट करना चाहते हैं और अपनी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट उस कंट्रीज में लगाना चाहते हैं जहाँ पे मार्केट भी एक्सपैंडेड हो और प्रोडक्शंस और लेबर की भी शॉर्टेज ना हो, एंड इवन दे गेट द लेबर इन द चीपर प्राइस. सो इंडिया कैन बी अ मार्केट, एंड इवन अगर अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट की अगर बात करें, अगर मार्केट आती है तो इट कैन सब्सटैंशियली कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट in the employment generation also. Now export opportunities, there are 6 important opportunities that I'll be discussing. कहाँ इंडिया की गवर्नमेंट जो है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट काम कर सकती है. So there are some suggestions from this editorial. So if India first work on the non-tariff barrier for agriculture trade, it would be a special focus on harmonizing the sanitary and phytosanitary requirements. Second, to support tea export, traditional tea boards that are seeking a greater role in autonomy in optimizing the development and promotion of research sector. Third, India must double down its integration with global supply chain. So these are the 3 important areas where India can actually work upon. And the fourth option is that tariff rate for intermediate input should reduce to either zero or should be negligible for India to become an attractive location, right? It is very important that India should reduce its tariff so that many company can be invited and they can establish the complete setup. Fifth, that India must persist with the creation of enabling ecosystem that realign the specific pattern towards labor intensive processes and product line. And last but not the least, that is the continuation for the proactive FDI policy, जहाँ पे FDI में liberalization की ज़रूरत है, which can be again very crucial for the foreign capital and technology that can be the key enablers in terms of global productions. And even the local firm can play a subcontractor and supplying intermediate input to the जो multinational companies हैं उनके लिए, multinational enterprises के लिए, right? So this is how the things would move ahead if India has an opportunity and India utilizes all these things, right? Now moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of your study questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, also the correct option is C. Today's MCQ for practice, Technology and Innovation Report is released by United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, Economist Intelligence Unit, World Economic Forum, Global Entrepreneurship and Development Institute. So do check it out, which among the following is the correct option. Second, Food and Waste Report 2021 is released by United Nations Environment Program, International Food Policy Research Institute, Walk Free Foundations, and New Economic Foundation. So these are the 2 important index that can be again relevant for your prelims examination. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.